ugly world what you see around. Okay, but you go inside, it's like a beautiful, colorful inside what you see. That's like a dream world what we have.
Hi, I'm Hanumant, I'm a practicing architect, mentoring students for this Eeed Expo. So this time we were given an expression. We are working on a theme, anger. So getting anger through a object, which is related to our industry is a task. So the students, they are from Sri Venkateswara College of Architecture. They are first years, so they are fresh to the design process. We took a simple concept like a punching bag. So punch bag, so you feel like hitting it. So we just took that small word and we started working around that.
Hi, my name is Darshan. I have done my bachelor's from Gujarat in sculpture and master's in Italy. Here I got the theme name belonging. We got the scrap like electronics and plywood. So now we are preparing a frame in which we can make the best out of the waste. So we are installizing all the scrap which every household has in their house. So we are making a frame and put everything in that frame, and we are just making that frame standable so that it can be a memory to every person whoever sees to it.
Ideas such as this of bringing the architects, designers from the practice interact with the students on platforms like Showcase are realized only when we get support from sponsors who can enable this activity. We are really grateful to Alekhya Homes to come forward to take care of both these workshops for us.
The matter can never be destroyed, as we all know.
The Best from Waste workshop is continuing for the second time, but this time with the theme of expressions. The idea behind doing this workshop is to get the junior level of students involved in this workshop, like the first, second and third years of architecture as well as interior design students. This is a platform which Iiid has created to give them exposure.
We had 9 colleges participating in this workshop, and we gave team leaders or mentors to each group. We combined the architecture and the fine arts side. We got sculptors, we got practicing architects interacting with the students, and we wanted to get the process and the intuitive side together. So we even have assistant professor guiding the students. So.
I'm Shraddha. I'm an architect. I'm mentoring a group of students from JBR College of Architecture. We were all given expressions. Mine was expanse. We picked up a lot of waste cloth. We got a few pieces of bamboo and an old tire and bits and bobs of other things as well. Using the colors of the cloth, we tried to express the expanse of natural elements like brown for earth and blue for water and sky, the lighter blue for the sky. So we also got a very nice deep blue cloth. We've painted the Starry Night, Van Gogh's Starry Night, an homage to the great artist. And we're putting this all together as a screen in the Fibonacci sequence. This is a kind of conflicting idea where expanse of the earth and of our surrounding can also be restricting in a manner of speaking. Cloth is very thin material, so it's like a screen, so you can see through transparency, light coming in and out. There is no top to it, so experiencing nature in its truest form. We thought this is the best way to express the term expanse.
Myself, I'm Seshu from Hampstead. So I'm going to represent the Hampstead College, and I'm the faculty of the Hampstead. So we thought of taking a superhero, which is called as the Hulk, and our concept is anger. They provided us the tiles, so we broke them into pieces and we have just pasted because the anger depicts damage. So we made a center table for it. So we had a plank on the top which is made out of plywood, and upon it we pasted all the broken tiles. And we had a center hole in the plank. So within that circle, the ant evolves.
Hi, this is Shravya. As a mentor, I came here. It's a wonderful opportunity to me. As a sculptor, we thought that we ropes and cables. So lots of materials mixed together. We want to showcase that everything is belonging with each other. The concept we took is ecosystem, and ecosystem we want to showcase that there is a tree and there are humans of different ages, of different choices and different understanding. So we are giving them a space to sit.
This is architect Yashwant Chandra, a practicing landscape architect with the firm called Living in Dirty, LIDA for short. I'm currently mentoring the team of JNA FAU architecture students. Some of them are master's students and some of them being bachelors. And the topic we were given is surprise. So that is where we have taken the inspiration of nature and the smallest of the particles, fountain grass. So the structure we are creating is a fountain that makes music, gives light and lets you sit around. So there are multiple levers for this fountain wherein which you pull the levers, which are something like, the levers are actually the flowers of this fountain grass.
Good evening, all. A heartful welcome for the inauguration of Sthapatya Utsav. Let's begin this auspicious moment with the national anthem. Can you please rise for the national anthem?
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Jai Hind. On this auspicious occasion of 20th June 2024 Sthapatya Utsav, I would cordially invite our chief guest, architect Yatin Pandya ji, along with our chairperson Pallavi Anchuri ji, Rakesh ji, our convener for the event, architect Naveen ji and Kumar Chalsani ji. Please come on to the dais and you are welcome to the lamp lighting. Amita ji. And the entire MC, please. Thank you, sir, and thank you, the MC. Insider Showcase X is one of our signature events that happens once in 2 years, and the entire fraternity of interior designers and architects come together to host this event. And in this past few years, this event has transformed, and this year especially with our MC member Sushmita ji, it has been a wonderful start where our future generation is going to start the event, the festivity, that's today. And then onto the backflip of it, we have our very eminent chief guest, architect Yatin Pandya ji, who is going to connect with all his experience to the future generations here sitting, the future of Telangana or India. So right now, I would request our chairperson, architect Pallavi ji, to come on to the dais and give her speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Subbarao. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is a great moment which marks the start of our series of events in Iiid-Hrc 2024. It is a great pleasure to welcome you all to the first event today, the Sthapatya Utsav. I cordially welcome our keynote speaker, architect Yatin Pandya sir, faculty members, guests, IID members, and the students. This year is the 5th edition of Iiid-Hrc Showcase, curated by Indian Institute of Interior Designers, Hyderabad Regional Chapter. Our vision for the term is design synergy in the field of architecture and interior design. Design synergy is the collaborative and This 5th edition of Iiid-Hrc features Design Street, Kala Utsav, Sthapatya Utsav. One of the key objectives of IID is to engage the students in workshops, volunteering, upgrading the education. The showcase began in 2015, and since then, the students have been part of the process and collaborate with IID. Every edition, there were workshops curated in a unique way and different in each year. This workshop upskills the students and bring them out of the comfort zone and interact with the professionals of this industry who have great experience and have excelled in their field. So students grab the opportunity to showcase your works, talents, and upskill yourself and participate actively. We have very interesting series of workshop lineup this time. Origami workshop by architect Bobby Vijayakar, Engaging Minds, an interactive session with architect Peter Rich, Carpentry workshop by architect Anurag Khandelwal, Charcoal sketching workshop by Mr. Manveer Singh. This was possible because of the tremendous efforts and initiative taken by our MC member, architect Sushmita Subudhi, taking care of entire collaboration of education with IID, from coordinating with all the colleges and faculty. Her efforts of membership drive have made more than 250 students of student member. Can we have a round of applause? I thank all the institution heads, faculty members who supported us, and I would like to mention a special mention to the Sirsila College of Architecture. All the way they came to Hyderabad. They are staying somewhere and participating in this workshop. I thank our sponsor for the student workshop, Fabistone, for supporting this event. The entire show is possible with the initiative taken by IID Showcase convener, architect Rakesh Vasu, our mentor Manoj Wahi, and I would like to encourage all the colleges, students, faculty members to actively participate in and bridge the gap between the profession and the education. Wishing you all the best for next 3 days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam. I think you have done a wonderful start. That's with the students that you have initiated this wonderful evening. So today we have our marathon runner and practicing architect and never sleeping Rakesh Vasuji, who is convener for the Sthapatya Utsav as well as the showcase 2024, which is just starting now and it would end by the month end. So, and he's our treasurer too. So very keen treasurer. So I would request him onto the dais and take it forward. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Subbarao, for the wonderful introduction. Respected Chief Guest Architect Yatin Pandya, sir, honorable institution heads, mentors, curators, faculty, fellow members, managing committee, Iiid-Hrc, and my dear friends. First of all, I would like to thank you very much, sir, for accepting to be the keynote speaker. And I remember asking you during our Golden Jubilee celebrations, I had come to you personally, and right away you accepted and gave your phone number and email ID. That is where it started, exactly around 6 to 7 months back. Thank you very much for that. And it's an honor for me to be addressing this gathering in the presence of architect Yatin Pandya, sir, And it gives me a great pleasure as convener Showcase Iiid-Hrc 24 to kickstart this showcase with the students. So they are the stepping stones of the next generation. As we have a plethora of activities lined up for the showcase, we wanted a platform for design student members to showcase their works and skills. Hence, Sthapatya Utsav was born. And this was a platform for them to actually showcase their beautiful works. And Sthapatya Utsav is a very special and uniform, it's a very unique platform involving students, mentors, curators, faculty of all architecture and design colleges of Telangana and Pan-India. And I'm thrilled to share that we have a record of number of student members of over 250 members, which is a record among all the 35 chapters Pan-India, and we continue to receive the applications. Actually, the head office was surprised and they were actually dazzled to know that such huge numbers have come just within the span of 2 to 3 months. So thank you all students for enrolling them, and I'm sure we are taking it much forward. We make it double. I'm actually very grateful to the curators and mentors of the workshop to accept the invitation and lead the students with very informative and learning design experience. I thank all the institution heads who have been very supportive to this vibrant showcase. I must congratulate architect Sushmita Subidhi, who has relentlessly worked, curated the entire workshop along with architect Suman Rekha and their most dedicated team of faculty and student volunteers, where Sthapatya Utsav would not have been possible without their tremendous efforts. I thank the sponsor N. Fabustone for supporting this wonderful initiative of the workshop, and also the director NAC for granting permission to organize this wonderful initiative of the workshop, and Namdari, who has done our events. Last but not the least, my sincere thanks to Pallavi Anchuri, the dynamic chairperson of Iiid-Hrc, and the entire managing committee who was here, and the staff who have been relentlessly working and taking this showcase to one of the best among all the showcases ever organized in the country. Thank you very much, and have a great time for the next 10 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer Vasuji. Yeah, today, geographically it is, we're just shifting the solstice, and on this auspicious day we have our honorable guest speaker and the famous Yatin Pandya sir here. We have grown up as architects, as students. When I was in 3rd semester, I was reading his articles in the magazines. He used to write about B.V. Doshi sir's works and other observations and his research as well. So I don't know this generation how many of you know, or if you don't know, because all these great legendary masters of India have paved a path to us for progressing in this field of architecture. Today, all the name, fame, or glamour what we enjoy is all our forefathers' effort, and we have one of the senior exponent here sitting amongst us. So it gives a nostalgic feeling that when you start your school or college and then you read about some people and then you meet them in your life, and it gives a wonderful feeling that whom you thought that there's no chance that you may go and interact because they're on the other side of the country, or in those days I don't think it would have been so easy those days to go and meet anybody in the north or other country as such. So now with so much of technological advancement and a lot of data available at your fingertips and all, this is very possible, and you need to just dream and have a right direction, and it is possible. So now, without taking much time, I would request our Amitaji, our Joint Honorary Secretary, to introduce our keynote speaker of the evening.
Good afternoon, everyone. So it gives me immense pleasure to introduce to you our keynote speaker for our first event of Iiid-Hrc. In fact, today we had the opportunity to interact with him in the morning by giving him a small tour, city tour in the morning, and I should say we were quite inspired by his thought processes and about various things. And I'm sure there is a lot for students to take away from here, because his presentation. So be attentive today, and there's a lot to take back from you. But before I call him, I would like to read a small introduction about him. Yatin Pandya is an author, academician, researcher, as well as the practicing architect with his campus Footprints E.A.R.T.H, E.A.R.T.H, which is Environment, Architecture, Research, Technology, Housing. Graduate of CEPT University, Ahmedabad, he has an availed Master of Architecture degree from McGill University, Montreal. Yatin has been involved with city planning, urban design, mass housing, architecture, interior design, product design, as well as conservation projects. Yatin has won over 40 national and international awards of architectural design, research, as well as dissemination. The most recent ones have been the All India Stone Architecture Award, United Nations Habitat Award Special Mention, and United States Curry Stone Foundation Design Prize for Sustainable Practice. He has written nearly 300 articles in national and international print media. Several books authored by him on architecture, especially Courtyard Houses of India. I'm sure some of you must have read it. It's a quite famous book. Concepts of Space in Traditional Indian Architecture. This is also one of bestseller. And Elements of Space Making. They have been published internationally and been widely referred as course material. He has also been involved in preparing over 30 video documentaries on architecture. He has been visiting faculty for 33 years at CEPT University and guest lecturer, critic to various universities in India and abroad. He has served as thesis guide to over 200 graduate, masters, and PhD students. He has lectured in over 20 countries in over 100 fora. Environmental, sustainability, socio-cultural appropriateness, timelessness, aesthetics, and economic affordability are key principles of his work. So put your hands together and please welcome architect Yatin.
Is there a slide changer? I have the lapel mic. Which one should I use? This or the hands-free, no? I'll use this one. Yeah. You can just put the mic there. If you record the camera, then you just. Oh, okay. It is for camera recording. Not for this. So I have to use this, and it will go with that. Oh, all right. Okay, so I'm fully wired. So Namaskar. Very, very good afternoon. Indeed, an honor not only to have been invited, but to be with this young mind, and I hope to go back learning from you as well. So we hope that this monologue for a while should end into a dialogue. Thank you so much for the warmth and the welcome that I received. Thank you, Amitaji, for taking me around and giving me the glimpse of the new Hyderabad, that what it is. And that's something that I want to prod here to the younger friends, that which one of that is what you want to vote for. And I think it's not this versus this, but I think what of that we take away as a responsive architecture to eventually be humane, sustainable, and timeless built environment. So I think that's the kind of argument or a point of view that I hope to share here. So let me begin. Let me begin by a story that when I learned that, okay, these are mainly the students who have been aspiring to become an architect, and often question is, what is architecture? Similarly, one pupil, the Maitreya and Indra, is essentially the kind of story about. He goes to a master and says, please teach me architecture. So he goes to an architect, And typically we know architects are very fond of passing the buck. They never want to take things on their head. So he says that, how can I teach you architecture unless you know sculpting? Because it's about form, it's about proportion, it's about massing, and materiality. So you must first be a sculptor. So he goes to a sculptor, teach me sculpting, and sculptor sends him further saying that without dance, there is no sculpting, because it's all about expression, mudra, hav-bhav. So you must first master that. So he goes to a dancer, and dancer says, without music, there is no dance, because it's about pause, rhythm, and you must be attuned to that. He goes to a musician, and musician also sends him further, saying that without literature, without poetry, there is no music, because it's not just the sound and composition, it is expressive of the kind of mood or the kind of message. So you must first be a poet. He goes to a poet, and poet, we know, tends to be very philosophical. Poet says, kid, how can I teach you poetry? It's all about living life, live life, look around, observe, analyze, interpret, and imbibe, and you have all architecture, or life is all what architecture is about, in a sense. So I think all of you don't need to attend the school, just live life, observe, and you already are an architect. Thank you. Now, we have all done that as a child. As a child, we have all played architect. I literally mean it, You played Lego blocks, you played the pyramid of the play cards, and you have already made castles of sand on a beach. You think these 3-year, 4-year-old toddlers have ever gone to architecture school to do that? But intuitively, by exploration, by observation, they understood that if it is a sandy beach, then you have to moisten the same in terms of BC and AC, before Corona and after Corona. Because I think it did impact us and convinced us for certain kinds of a mind change. For example, it taught us that we were in the race of conquering the nature. At least it brought the humility to understand that human is just a microcosm of a larger cosmos. So there is more a symbiosis required, rather than we trying to be one up on anything. So I think with that kind of a lesson, where we also understood very well, we had been blessed with the iPhones or Zoom and whatnot, but as a tool, it did not substitute meeting in person someone. We broke the curfew regulation, and the first opportunity we went out. The very next year, with vengeance, we went out to travel over outside and whatnot. We also learned that 60 channel could make you still go bored, as against meeting a fellow human being or being outdoors in nature was more okay. I'm triply wired, so I can move around then? Thank you. All right, freedom to move, So the whole point about any existence, and I believe that for any development, the core intent has to be human to human sustenance or interface or symbiotic relationship, or human to nature. And when we do that, I think there would be a harmonious balance between this mind, body, and soul. Is it too much of a problem if is it all right? Is it all right? Okay, or maybe I stand this side. Hello? Good enough? All right. Am I disturbing your sleep there? Are you okay to nap there? All right. So what I said, that pandemic, and these are the kind of telling proof of when we had given and too little resource, that this planet, nothing can be reversed. But just 2 months of undue system going out of the circulation, we found that nature could correct itself, whether it was air quality, water quality, the kind of blurring of the interface in terms of what is man-made, what is nature, and so on and so forth. So I think this convinced us on many counts, and it gave fundamentally the assertion about technology and indoors versus nature and outdoors, you know. And that's a kind of a threshold at which we could relook at our paradigm for what we call development, you know. We had been after the smart cities, etc. There's nothing unsmart about word smart. It's not dumb in any dictionary. But I have a little skepticism about if this image is what is used to propagate that now our cities are going to be smart, progressive, then I literally wonder, is it a vision or is it a slogan? If we say this to be smart, have our, you know, lard bazaars or whatever been dumb in that sense? Is tradition anti-modern? And is West the best? So these are the kind of questions we need to look for, pause, and rethink about the development further. You know, if we have more time, I would have put any bet if we can identify 5 places of all over the world, this architecture. They are real, you know, images. And if I put this name from anywhere, you know, you innocently will believe I could have just fooled around whatever name that came to my mind I put in and it would still work, you know. Now, why blame the world? This is back home. Today I took many pictures, thanks for that. In India, you know, where is this from? And look at this, how diverse a cultural context, a kind of climatic context, and still the outcome is just about the same. So mind you, the young friends here, I'm not saying the glass and the steel as material. I'm not saying the kind of technical marvel that this may be. I'm saying is that is one solution appropriate everywhere? So I'm saying that it's more relevant to be appropriate rather than define good or bad or implanted something. Okay, I think I was very thankful for having arranged this tea hub, or what is it? Tea work, yeah. And wonderful use of new material and all, but it was all about space, proportion, light, interactivity with the volume and stuff like that. So question here is about its boxiness and unimaginative application rather than, or just aping rather than inventing, you know. So let's not misconstrue that we are talking about only mud wall, you know. Both of these are Kerala. It's for all of you, for me to retire in which Kerala to decide, you know. Both are Jaipur. You figure out which one is relevant. Both are Kolkata. Which Kolkata should we be promoting, you know? There is a difference between image and identity. Again, we became very smart with the Zoom calls that what we want others to see us as, that's the image, but we felt more comfortable being what our identity allowed us, you know. So image is what others want to see, you want others to see you as, while identity is your true DNA, your true character. So if we talk of that, what is that DNA of India as a context that we talk about? Of course, there's a little generalization, but the notion, should we be judging the book by the cover? Is it a paradox? Is it a joke? Is it a contradiction? Or is it actually what India stands for? That this bipolarity, this kind of opposites, coexistence of that. That's the wonderful kind of think about. And that's where, again, to redefine, I might use, or anybody uses in the context of India, the word tradition. It is not anti-modernity. On the contrary, I'm trying to say that history and tradition, generally assumed to be synonymous as something from the past, I see there is an opposition. Itihas or pranali. History is a dead tradition, while tradition is a living history. When something becomes obsolete for the changed time and circumstance, it dies its own death, and that's a forgotten past, mummified history. But something that may have come from yesterday but continues to be part of us today, you know, it's there today because it has survived over time, being relevant even in present. You know, a lot of these festivities, you know, if you kind of celebrate with higher fervor than the kind of your grandfather, is it of grandfather's prerogative or it's your own, you know? So we make a mistake when we use this term of looking at the manufacturing date. We should be rather looking at an expiry date. And ironically, many young friends here swear by the technology, but actually something that gets passé in no time is the technology. By the time you can afford and save I-14, parts of I-12 are obsolete, you know, and there's 18 in the market. As against something that your grandmother wore, save it, in 5 years it will be most fashionable. That's why, you know, in India we see overlay of time, our moorings from the past and aspiration for tomorrow coexist to create realities of today. We simultaneously live in 3 time zones. This is a very effective Ahmedabadi solution. We are very penny pincher. So rather than spending in IPL slot 1.5 crore or whatever, where usually that time people go to the washroom and it's all gone to the drains, we have this very simple economical solution that a camel cart running, but look at the message, very archaic medium, Australia calling, it wants you to be a global citizen, but in an Ahmedabadi way, you can actually effectively market this, and yet, you know, so that's the kind of aspect of India in terms of, now this also happens because the other characteristic is caring and sharing. There are many cultures that respect individuality, but here we have to be also part of collective conformity, you know. And that is where you need to have pluralism. Pluralism in architecture is the most required, because how do you create a single resolution which resonates not only for now but for time to come, and one set of value system or the user to the other sets, you know. But the lessons we learn is not these pictures but the concept of multiple truth. The moment I go for single, if I say that my parents are the greatest in the world, I'm sure all of are angry and they are already raising their sleeves. I'm not sure if I can go alive out of this. But, and as much discourse we have, there'll be never, whatever parameter we say. But if every child thinks that their parents are the superman and superwomen are more important than who takes you there. So as many people, as many God or whatever. Fantastic idiom, and I think more south that I come and I see a lot of you wearing it, is gone out of north. Same 6-yard sari can be worn as differently, because you're always doing it for someone, you know, and you're saying great, oh wonderful, you know. But as against, वो बाजू वाला फ्रेंड देखता नहीं था, उसके डिब्बे में से एक थोड़ा निवाला ले लिया और 3 दिन बाद बोले वो तेरी माँ ने बनाया था, वो बिरयानी ला ने बहुत अच्छी थी, तुझे कैसे पता चला, वो छोड़ पर लेके आया, that was nice. You will remember lifetime if you have tasted. So architecture, your being there is what matters, and that is how it engages you. Why would you be there? So that whole idea of engagement, I always say architecture must, or any design for that matter, must inform, involve, and inspire. Only then you get not only engaged, but you come back enriched of having experienced that. So that's the kind of big bottom line. Now just take one example to just bring out the kind of principles. It's not replicating the form or element or anything of that sort. But to me, this is a wonderful example from Indian subcontinent in a hot, dry place where if you have no perennial river, how do you get water for sustenance? If you make big kunds, it would dry out in the hot time while you actually need it. So most smart way is to make a small hole to the first aquifer, which runs about 60, 70 feet below the ground, and then you go to the water. So Muhammad goes to mountain, you dig the steps reaching up to the water so that earth doesn't cave in. You have shoring and strutting and being a tributated construction, frame of column and beam in stone. Now that's the engineering, and actually a great engineering going top to bottom, 6-story, and we know that these have all withstood all earthquakes and all. This is particularly 605-year-old structure near Ahmedabad called Adalajni Vav. But apart from that engineering, how does it narrate itself? How does it present itself? And I like this because of the fact technically it's not a shrine. It is all below ground. So unlike pyramid and all, it's not just the scale that awes you down. And still, I'm sure all of you, when you come to Ahmedabad, one of the not to miss sight is this, you know. So why is it 6th century later and functional obsolescence? Nobody is allowed to even fetch water there. Still, it engages us to go there. And if somebody sponsors, you would not mind going there again, you know. So first, look at the narrative. From middle of nowhere, you have the outcrop of stone and few steps. So that becomes your first clue. It's like a treasure hunt, that you're given first an indication that, welcome, I'm here. But you don't know what's coming further. So that is that curiosity, that's that engagement. You know, if somebody paid 5,000 rupee trip to Ahmedabad, हम तो stepwell देखने जाने वाले हैं. ये पहला, you know, we are very, you know, quick in taking photographs. Mom, I have reached here. Come, this is Ahmedabad. अरे माँ बोले कि 5,000 रुपया इसके लिए तो मैं बना देती यहाँ पर, you know, उतने पैसे में stone तो हमारे वहाँ हैदराबाद में बहुत मिलते हैं. But look at the irony. In order to go down, you have few steps to go up. Now, moment you take first step, the void further is revealed to you. So this was a nuance you did not know before. So there is curiosity, there is engagement, there is anticipation. Okay. Now, not only that, the design decision that it's open to sky, that octagonal thing there. So now in presence of nature in terms of light, that becomes a visual focus, and you get drawn to that one full floor, surrounded on 3 sides by the inclined steps. So now you have come into a slightly enclosed space, open to sky, and brightness, you know. When that draws you there, because 3 sides are now repelling planes, not, you know, you turn to the 4th side, and I say that this is the most spectacular view. It, you know, the precinct says, welcome to my precinct, you know. It also tells you that I am so far, I'm so long here, but all you know is that length dimension. But you are not a crow to fly up to that. You have to take an architectural element called a stair. And the moment you take step, wonderful thing happens in a stair. It's always a 3-dimensional thing. Every step you are transposed horizontally and vertically. So like the bite of a thali, every platform, you have a unique experience of that space. For example, very first platform, it feels like Rajasthan Palace with tall parapet. It's large kind of a sky that you see. It's very bright, but it feels like semi kind of parapet controlled terrace. Go to the next platform on the left, and it feels now like a room with further little diffusion of light and little more sense of enclosure. You go further down, and now light diminishes. It starts looking like a well that you've been further surrounded and sucked in, you know. So even without dipping, now like thali, if you walk straight, it's symmetrical composition. But if you walk like that, it's different composition for you, okay? So everybody uniquely experiences that like a thali. Same thing is put forward, but your being there is how it can differ. And only at the end water is revealed. So water was merely an excuse. The whole essence of that was in a journey. So I always say, if Mr. Biden wants to visit this, you know, commando should not parachute him down. Then we can send him the water. He doesn't need to come here. Traversing that path is very important. You know, kind of experiencing the encounters. That's what is the essence of experiential journey. And it is like treasure hunt, that when newer nuances unfold, it keeps you going to the end, you know. And look at this also, that octagonal one. These are all benches you can sleep on, because in a hot, dry climate, when there is a caravan movement, the traders might want to shelter because it's below ground, it's cool. So in the caravan travel route, these are placed as a social places. So a utilitarian device has become a social place. And in fact, with the notions of 2 notions that govern our psyche when we say patal or petal. You know, one is going to the womb of Mother Earth, and therefore there's an association of Mother Earth, fertility. In fact, in Ahmedabad, there are many clans before going to honeymoon are brought here to seek blessings. So you see that there are niches. It's first of all, the last frame, but the first visual, last plane, but the first frame is Ganesha, and we know that it marks the auspicious beginning. And the same shaft ends with that of the fish that reminds you come to the water world, you know. In between the niche,
that reminds you with the goddess, the idea of motherhood. And secondly, the fish tells you about the Patal Lok, heaven in the sky, earth in the ground, and below ground, the Patal Lok, the water world, you know. So these are also the association. Now, this is culturally familiar, but experience before is humanly universal. Even a farmer from Russia would be able to experience in the same way. He may not understand Ganesh versus the elephant, you know. So that's how with notion, as well as with this kind of a physical, this thing, you engage in total with mind and the body. That's what is the complete experiential architecture about. And that is why a simple device to fetch water has not only exalted to become a social place, but also a shrine in a sense. So what are the principles we take away? We are not romanticizing a building or whatnot, but we are taking away the principles. There could be as many examples of temple or mosque or whatnot that teaches us the common thread. This is there in the book, Concepts of Space, but disparate visual and physical access. You know where you have to go, but sight line is not the line of movement. You have to meander, okay? And when you meander, you explore the other dimensions. So for example, this in plan may look axial, but actually these are all the barriers that doesn't allow you to walk straight. That makes it a nodal or a kind of juncture journey. You know, it's like cabbage or onion, that it's series of layers. When you peel all of them, nothing is left. So the whole essence is in those. So it becomes sequential unfolding. You know, we've been all told that Islamic architecture is all about symmetry. It is symmetrical, but in plan. Even Taj Mahal or all of these monuments, you see, there is a landscape element in between, water or vegetation. So it is axial in plan, but physically it puts you off axis. So experientially, actually in terms of when you're there, it gives you another perspective to look that from, okay? And that is where the same thing here. This is Rajasthan palaces. There's a courtyard at the back with the light. You know there is something at the back. So it's not a stressful labyrinth either. But you can't walk straight, so you have to go around in order to do that. So that's the idea of encounters and sequential unfolding. It's like a good cinema that has that up and down, that from the beginning. And it also tells you, so it's not that last, the third end was a liar, you know, and something like that. But it always gave you the clue, and yet twist and turn, it kept you guessing. So it's the same way that you are engrossed in this, you are involved in this for experience and seeing it from a different perspective, but it is also to condition the mind. That fact that you spend time going around, you are also becoming that much aware. Kinesthetic as an organizational principle. You know, architecture is one both complex as well as most rich aspect of that is perceiving while in movement. It's not like a painting that doesn't matter where you see from, it's static, okay? It's constantly changing by your point of view. From here, this is symmetrical. But from here, the same composition is very different. You know, as photographer, we take different angles, and same building looks different from different point of view. From far versus close, and likewise, you know. So here you can see that, and wonderful application of that Taj Mahal from a labyrinthine street where halwais are pouring water and all that, milk, sorry, half water, part milk. And you have no idea of Taj Mahal. Yes, you have anticipation, you have great kind of fantasy about it. But from that narrow street, etc., suddenly when you come to the Shah Jahan Palace, Shah Jahan's gate, you get this Dantanan view of Taj Mahal. That is where you know that it's a big dome, cubical mass, and 4 minarets. So it introduced yourself. And mind you, that antithesis gave you a little more awe of what you saw. If from the beginning you were able to see and you just went closer and closer, there's not that much of a kind of appreciation of that scale. But once you go there, look, on the axis, there is water body. How many people have fallen taking selfie into that? But the point is that it takes you off that. So when you there and come down, so which is where you are absorbed by the beautiful landscape. That's where you forget the minaret. Earlier it told you, I'm 4 minaret and the dome, come to me. But that's a couple of 100 meters away. Meanwhile, you go to all these places, then at one point, everybody takes selfie with that choti being picked there. So again, that reminds you of the excess and whatnot. But then you come, and the steps are not straight like Asiatic Library or so. Actually, you go from the side and then go up in the opposite way. And that is where the same arch that had composed this now composes one frame, one minaret. So beautiful recall saying that remember there were minarets, I am here, I'll take you to Mumtaz, come with me. So all that hundreds of meters have dissolved to once again connect you from your first sight to having come this far, So that's the kind of way that narratives have been built into many of these architecture, which is what excites us to visit that. Nature, again, bringing pandemic in, we understood the power of nature. Building never changes even a centimeter. But when you interact with nature, nature in terms of light, nature in terms of wind, nature in terms of vegetation, nature in terms of landform, nature in terms of even water and people and activity, our grandfathers, they can watch overlooking the street and people passing by for the whole day, while 60 channels might be boring to them, So that's when you bring in nature, that kind of becomes every time a fresh combination, time and space combination keeps changing, and that is what these architecture have always done. And final lesson, semantics, the notion also, we engage with notion that a rock with a particular symbol can become a shrine, but the same symbol for a Hindu might be a sign of reverence, can be a sign of hatred for the Jews, okay? So that's culturally significant or notional. So these principles, so just to understand that this is again not a glorification of past, but the lessons that we learn, because 6th century later, functional obsolescence, if they continue to inspire awe even to us, how can we make today's architecture worthy of a second glance? First time it's always unique, but can you keep looking at them ever and ever? So here is an example. Now still 75-year-old, Corbusier's building, very modernist, is not trained in Indian aesthetics, and yet the architectural idea of promenade architectural, architecture as a walk, as a journey, remains same. So this, I'm sure you come to Ahmedabad as much that you go to the stepwell, you go to this mill owner's building. Now look at that, how does it represent or present itself? First, the ramp comes out, okay? So in a neutral cubical mass. So I say it's always like a frog's tongue that swallows you in. The smartness is, therefore everybody walks on that. Smartness is that time there is a stair, but it's not revealed. Otherwise there would be a complex, young people would take stair and I'll walk on the ramp and I'll feel older. But so it's one thing presented at a time. So everybody goes up. There also, there are these small trailers. You see what's at the back, then the light, and then, Mr. Doshi spends discussion how they arrived at this form. It was like a pivot that you turn around from there. This is 226 plane wrapped around, behind which is the toilet. So when you're done with that, now you see the stair is revealed to you. It was always there, but your changed position, now it presented that I am there. It's like I'll say, relay of a baton. That पहले Michael Johnson या जो भी उसने दौड़ा, फिर अभी कोई और दौड़ेगा, PT Usha ने लिया. So now it's the same vertical element, never it's a staircase. There are 6 modes of vertical transit. So when we talk about elements of space making, there is a role. When I walk on the ramp, it was essentially a walk, but by default I was rising. That's why ground floor looks like first floor looks like a ground, and ground looks like a basement. But in a step, every moment I'm conscious of ascent. Okay. So here now there's a stair taking you up. Then you come up, and there's a kind of a frame that becomes a gateway. You come through that, that stair has ended there now. Now, diagonally further, you get another stair. And because it's in the middle of space, one of the most delicate, three-dimensionally sculpted, dog-legged, okay? So that's a third version of a stair. You come till this mezzanine. Now what happens? This is what you climb. What used to be that plane that you saw like this, wrapped around plane, now from this point of view, it feels like a solid mass, like a sculpture in a void. You know, if somebody for Prime Minister's visit would have tidied everything up but left debris here, he would see it, you know, because he didn't realize that from ground versus on top. Now that, I don't know if I have pictures. You know, if you go further from here to here, it's a ladder, like steps, cantilevering out to take you there. Then to the tank, there are just rungs. You hold to like swimming pool or so, go up. And then there's a shaft. So 6 modes of vertical transit, and each doing its own bit in the building. And then you saw the first picture, that was a west. It was an inclined one. So the western sun is protected from, and yet the southwest breeze can come in. As against the east, which is where the river is, it's 90 degree. So you get the maximum view there. And the vegetation, we in fact restored this in 1997. And vegetation keeps changing. So the same building, even 75 years later now you see, because of the shadows, because of the vegetation, looks fresh every time. Coming back to, therefore, design is not about finding one answer to one question. It's about asking many questions, finding many answers to each question, and then picking one answer that answers all questions. Therefore, it's about discretion. It's about adding value. Discretion to discern between appropriate and inappropriate. There's nothing like good or bad. It's always appropriate or inappropriate. And appropriate to what? Given context such as place, people, and planet, as I say. You know, it's like, I compare it with that of a doctor's profession. Doctor knows all diseases. Even in the thick of corona, you think he should just shut out the clinic and say, corona, लीजिए ये tablet, corona लीजिए, आइए corona, मुझे बताने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, no? There could be 99 corona, but one could be cholera, you know. So, and you know, if maybe Ambani goes there and he says कि यार आपको कोई disease नहीं है, आपका बेटा मोटा हो रहा है, इसको पतला कर दीजिए, you will be all right, you know. So sometimes, you know, there is no medicine also. He diagnoses that. So that's why we have to be like that, that we know the context, we know the program, and we say this is appropriate for you. I know how to do it in mud, but for you it's right in brick, or I know in brick, but for you it's right in glass, or other way around, okay? And that's where, if that is the idea of holistic design, do these designs represent that thinking from many questions, many answers, or is one question, one answer? That if child is dirtying the attire while crawling around the floor, उसको मॉप नहीं बना देते कि जहाँ जहाँ जाएगा फर्श साफ करता जाएगा, you know. That is too quick, too singular, too literal an idea, you know. You know, Shringar, lipstick is such a cosmetic, personal thing, and to turn it into a template. And, you know, shoe is more expensive than yourself, so you have a special protection for that. Control or delete through a single stroke. And, you know, noodles must be had warm, but you're getting late, so I think the fan is a test accessories to that. And as architects, we are not necessarily that behind, you know. I don't know how this developer would have had a sleep. अभी check दिया और जाके देखा तो ये हो गया, you know. But don't worry doing anything of this kind, because हमारी architect की image ज़्यादा जाती है आगे. ये, you know, हमारे building में बहुत ये architect लोग बहुत creative होते हैं, you know. दरवाजा नहीं है फिर भी balcony दे दी, बोलो वो उनको ही आता है. So don't worry on that. These are smart detailing, yeah. Because we make these blunders and then we get PhD out of it. simply by observing and analyzing this. But it can have added value, through design. How can design add a value? May it be beauty, may it be humor, may it be economics, may it be environment, I think now they have reprinted with the Bush's picture on that. I think this is to me a great design, in an aircraft, lightness of it, and in a small, even if you were allowed, there could be a shower on top, you could change baby's diaper there, you could do everything in such a space. In fact, very first semester you are taught the bubble soap diagram and the anthropometric, but we end up making rectilinear cube. This is a 3D version of the most optimal volumetric, utilization. This, just want to share, design and that value addition we are talking about. I like Indigo's sense of graphics and design. Same craft, same trolley, there are 3 sets of cups that come in. And as I say, design must inform, involve, and inspire. So if you simply ask for water, it's a little flimsy, but a larger cup, because you need more water, and it says printed, stay hydrated. So it's inspiring you to be right about taking more water. Even if it's squeezed and spills, it doesn't matter, it's not so bad. But if you ask for a soft drink, there is another set of cup, which has 3 puzzles. The French invented French fries in the 17th century. Some power outages in the United States are caused by squirrels, or the Australian declared war on emus twice. Which one is false? First one. But point is that while you are sipping on a cold drink or a soft drink, there is a little engagement. The puzzle, you think about it, whatnot. So that's the other one, and this is definitely smaller than that. And third, when you ask for a hot beverage, then they get you in this, so it's stiffer. So by mistake, if you crumple, there could be an accident. And because of these, there is a gap, so you don't touch really the surface inside, and therefore it's insulated. So it could have been plain glass, and they could have, saved on the printing and whatnot, or it could have been just advertisement, indigo, indigo, indigo. I think this is a wonderful idea of adding value through design. Even personal, something called tattoo. ये करते हैं ना, रणबीर एंड कैटरीना R और K करेंगे. अभी उसका R और A हो गया तो K को कैसे इरेज करना, मुझे तो बहुत एंजाइटी होती है, उसके बदले we are all architects, and if we have scale put on this, it'll be very handy on the site, And actually, I have grown up in a time where this was very accepted as 1 yard, ek var. The cloth was measured by a very precise measurement of millimeter or centimeter. Ek var, 2 yard or adha. It's a different story that shrewd Ahmedabadi Banya businessmen put Nepali on a counter, so uska yard hi aayega, अभी हमारा वो नवरात्रि सेलिब्रेशन होता है ना, तो बैकलेस चोलीज एंड माचोज आर ऑगलिंग ऑन दैट. तो उसको आई चेक दो, बेटे 5वीं लाइन पढ़ नहीं सकता, नीचे देख मत, पहले डॉक्टर के पास जाके अपना चश्मा निकाल. और ये करने में तेरा मेट्रो तो गया, अभी दूसरा स्टेशन यहाँ. Function is taken for granted. What value do you add? Keyboard is a keyboard, but somebody thinks of flexible body contour, 3D keys so that you don't get a back pain, water spilling, cheapest, flexible key arrangement, rollable, and so on and so forth. Like here, this is switchboard, making you aware about not keeping it too long and burning electricity. So the first one, when you put on the switch, the ghost smiles at you. You keep for a little longer and makes faces. If it's too long, then it really frowns at you. More on shut it out. But हमें अहमदाबाद में ये सब subtlety पता नहीं है. हमारा मेरा कितना टका, what do I have to pay for my pocket? वो बात करो नहीं, ये सब तो होता रहेगा. So अहमदाबाद के लिए स्पेशल रेंज निकाली है. जब भी स्विच ऑन करना है आप कॉइन डालो. And then we become very romantic. ओ आज तो फुल मून डे है, इलेक्ट्रिक की ज़रूरत नहीं है, बाहर आके खाते हैं खाना. आज तो मोमबत्ती से करेंगे, रोमांटिक. मैं तुम्हारा व्हाट्सएप देखूंगा, तुम मेरा व्हाट्सएप देखो. दिस इज इंग्लैंड में पट्टा वाले नहीं होते. तो when you come, you put the hat and by spring that switch will come on, and when you go, you don't have to worry, it just comes off. So no wastage of electricity. और ये शायद फ्रेंच लोग बहुत रोमांटिक होते हैं ना, तो you whisper, can I turn you on? We believe in avatars, but have our products been supportive of, thoughtful of that? By the time you order something from Amazon and before it reaches you, it's already fun. Okay? So can we think of a second use, naya avatar, ke wo jagaya to ye jindagi aise jiyega, which is what was done way back in 70s. World bottle, Wobo, how it was called, by Heineken beer, that once you go high in spirits, it has squarish form and serration, so it can be used as a brick in the wall. Abhi दीवारें झूम सकती है. Technology is a tool. In a desert, if you have to keep medicine refrigerated, using solar electricity or energy is not a joke or a paradox. Sustainability is a contextual adjustment with minimum to exploit maximum. Answer is to this side. This is same laptop like anyone, but if I use extra layer of a bamboo chip, I call it a green laptop. As much funny it may sound, I don't want to name buildings, but this guidelines as formula, nothing wrong with the intent, whether it's earlier American guidelines about platinum building, XYZ platinum building. On an exposed concrete column, if I put extra layer of China mosaic, which doesn't help column, it may still help the terrace, I get 2 points by saying that I've used recycled material. That's not sustainability about. That's where formulas go wrong. You have to be very kind of appropriate to the place. So Mr. Wally Broecker, the same scientist that coined the term global warming, if he's doing this multi-million-dollar project of oxygenating or improving the quality of air by tree-like looking artificial installation, could just natural seeding of plants not do it, no cost? What we need is answers like this. For example, in Africa, these are children who are playing around that merry-go circle and voluntarily taking turn, abhi mera turn main chalaunga. But in the bargain, this is mechanically connected to that aquifer below, and it lifts it to the overhead tank. So 24/7 you get water by gravity from that. That's an answer. A simple shoe box lined with Cadbury ke wrapper ko ulta karo jahan shiny hai, and it becomes a cooker. So things are like this are what we mean in India to be relevant. So intention versus innovation. Therefore, the norms have to be contextually relevant, rooted to the place, people's realities as well as aspirations. If you just simply borrow mindlessly, you would end up into such kind of thing. Use diaper at night instead of deeper. Even if you need it, you don't have to advertise on the back of that. When you mindlessly copy from a single source, that's aping. But you smartly copy from many sources, that's usually PhD. Now, timeless aesthetic to the next performance criteria, sociocultural appropriateness. There was a study done in Japan, a literal scientific study, that if senior executives were relieved of their tie and tuxedo kind of forced dressing in terracotta or terrylin, they would instead be allowed to wear informals. They would feel the same level of comfort with few degree warmer AC temperature. Instead of 24, maybe 26 would be good to feel the same comfort. So wrong dressing was the kind of culprit to unduly having to jack up the AC temperature, meaning lower that, and therefore more energy. So if people from the humid, warm region, if they are bare-chested, are they primitive or they are the most smart Salman Khans of those places, you know? We knew Gandhi, Shashwat, eternal Gandhi, he knew, but without, you know, kind of disrespecting its modesty, could unveil and veil. That's eternal Gandhi for you. Should Gandhi toe a line that it's hot in the winter and cool in the summer, you know? This is what we need to learn in architecture as well, that all three are narrow lanes, but one from traditional quarter arguably is positive, celebrating maybe festivity there. So we throw all our muck out of the kitchen, and therefore what was supposed to be improving the quality of environment has been a reason to degenerate environment. As against that, simply the window was a door. Both people, without asking anyone, would take half of the lot. They would maintain it. They would have probably papaya or a coconut tree coming there. So that's what I mean by design decision going wrong. This is Ahmedabad, UNESCO site, precinct of a neighborhood. You see there is a blurred interface between where is the street and where is the house. As against, again, the kind of a bylaw housing that says, in our case, 15% of land must be kept open. So religiously kept open, but nothing of the build even visually opening out to that. And as a result, it is degenerated, it's encroached, and it's abused. This is a Chinese puzzle like any old city of India would be, where built and unbuilt is a enmeshed network. As against rubber stamping idea, the too large an open space between that built neighborhood is impersonal, and therefore, except for the political rallies, are all kind of empty or abused or idle. It's not the money, it's the mindset. For example, a tree with a plinth in a slum like that says two things. One, open space is very important. So rather than putting two extra houses, they keep the space. And second, shade, the junctional locational value is good enough for at no cost that to become a public space, versus this is Ballard Estate. This is beautiful colonial building. It's a corporate house, who is who of India's industry. But look at this at the back. There's pipe over a window which says I have nothing to do with that. And that attitude has relegated this priceless real estate into nobody's space, and therefore it's abused and encroached. We had answers. This is Ahmedabad, 7 million people city, urban plaza. In the morning, in the paved area, there is a cow grazing ground. Cowherd brings the hay stock here. You buy from him the hay, so he's cash rich. You feed his own cow the hay, so cows are happy, and you think you've done something benevolent and you are happy. Sab scenes dhul gaye, kal se naya shuru. Same after 8:30 is a business district. Cows are replaced with cars, and formal and informal, unlike right of entry reserved, everybody finds something here. And in the evening, 4-legged animal was replaced with 2-legged. Makes it even more dirtier. But diurnal metamorphosis of the same physical space, morning, afternoon, evening. And the lesson is we don't have 5 times the open space, but each space can be very variedly used in 5 different ways, every day, morning to evening. What it also means is that these people takes onus of cleaning this. Rest of city may be clean or not, but they clean it with water every night, you know. Not only that, but there's mutual symbiosis that these hawkers don't get power from the municipality. Maybe the shades, the shop owner, with whatever mutual understanding, offer that. And any time of the day, this is full of life, vitality. You go to a shopping mall until 11, you're not even allowed. 11 to 12, it's a ghost place. 12 o'clock, maybe certain kind of activity, you know, likewise. So coming to the third aspect, the sustainability, all the R's that we talk about, What was the traditional way? As I said, as architect or built industry, we are responsible triply. First, we are the alterer of the landscape. Second, whatever we do, it lasts even longer than us, so our mistake may also perpetuate. And third, we are as responsible for as high energy consumption, material consumption, or pollutant creation. We think technology is an answer, no problem. But look at it, first thing first. First is a way of life. If it is 24 outside, why not use it that way rather than air conditioning this to be 24? You know, most of the hotels that you go to, there's not even a control given manually to open the window, where if it is 24, I could have just simply opened and not needed electricity. Not to be uncomfortable, but in the time where you could have done without you unduly using that. Look at this, you know, we think that transparent glazing, if it's 100% double glazing, creates that heat gain reduced by 10, by all kinds of sophisticated glass, you bring it to 40%, but simply 1 meter awning, and you would have done it for 25 to 30%, you know. This one, it's called sunflower, and before I read the next component, I thought that sunflower, तो वो तो बिस्किट बनाते होंगे, you know, sunflower oil and sunflower. और इसीलिए ये glass है तो सीधा radiation से अंदर पूरी oven होगी और biscuits must be popping up. Then I read the extension, sunflower maternity home. Then I didn't know the science के उसमें फायदा होता है बच्चे को बाहर लाने में. पर maybe, you know, we produce babies faster than biscuits, so चलता है, you know. But this south-facing facade, where recently we had 47-degree temperature, it has been recorded the footpath opposite has 3-degree warmer temperature just next, rather than the next building. So it's actually making it 4750, you know. Same, this is very close to my house and west-facing facade. And this wall, they have repainted the building, but wall continued for decades. And my suspicion was that the person is in coma since the first electricity bill. The responses through architecture, when there was no electricity, we are not romanticizing the past, but if there was no electricity, and yet they offered the climate comfort, what were those principles? One was insulation, both in hot and cold climate, that the mass for insulation. Today we might say, mass ki jagah kahan par hai? You know, it's thick wall, you can't have in urban area. But can we not have folded walls? Could you not use the external wall as a storage, which will also give you insulation, and it would make actually room little larger than what it is, because that will take care of storage. With insulation comes the ventilation, you know. It's a cold climate strategy to keep the warmth within. As much cool we think we are, each of us are emitting 75 kilowatt energy. So in a cold climate, that is warming this place and helping. But in a warm climate, it has to be evacuated. So we have forgotten the art of ventilation. Okay.
This building called Jahaj Mahal, as the word means, it is called Ship Palace, which is sited between two ponds. First, this is Munj Talav, which has the larger catchment area, and whatever little rainfall, it all gets collected and stored into this open water pond. This water pond then comes through a channel, arched way, into an arrival tank. From there, with water wheel, it has been lifted up, and once manually lifted up, it becomes, by gravity, a natural resource which runs through floor channels, and it becomes a very beautiful floor aesthetic element with winding patterns of water channel, where you get sparkle and dazzle of water, you get a little bit of humidity release, so it also affects the microclimate. And finally, that water, without being sort of wasted or lost, comes into a water pond, one of the upper level hammams. From there, it goes into another pond by gravity into lower level area, which is maybe for the royal court or so. And then by gravity, it runs into number of fountains. It runs into those inclined Mughal chadars, where water runs through the serration of the stones, and therefore again goes by gargling over that water surface. And then finally, through a channel, comes into another pond, which here is called Kapur Talav. So thus it's a closed system where every drop of water is made to count, and count in spatial terms, in environmental terms, in aesthetic terms. And this is where, even though a scarce resource, it has been given a dignity and it has been sanctified, it has been made integral to architecture.
So like stepwell, this is also from a kind of water scarce area, and as you saw, that it's not a plumbing plan, it's not a pipe as an answer of water harvesting. It's how you integrate it spatially, environmentally, emotionally or romantically, etc., etc. We've forgotten the art of outdoor living, you know. Ahmedabad, we used to sleep on terrace. We have huge festivities that are about terrace and whatnot. Ahmedabad Port, which has been recognized by UNESCO, not as Taj Mahal as one isolated building, but the way of life and the architecture integrated to this. Again, the fenestration, which have been the responsible for bringing in the vagaries of outside. So for example, Jali, amazing cultural artifact, both for Rajput and Islamic architecture, where it brought in one-way privacy. From outside, you did not know what's going on inside, but from inside, you saw everything outside because of the light difference. Second, Venturi principle, scientific. For example, Mr. Baker used it all along in his contemporary architecture, that when something goes from a small aperture, it picks up velocity. And also Bernoulli's principle, you know, and your breath is warm. Even without close-up smile, it's cool. You know, so that's the difference when something goes through a small aperture and releases, it becomes cool. Three-part window. Window has three functions, light, view, and ventilation. So top one for ventilation, middle one for the gossip and view, and the lower one for cool air to come. And like thali, you can permute and combine. So control is at your behest. In India, we need ray bands. We are heavy and high glare and sky component. As against, like the hotel where I stay or anywhere, in daytime, when it's burning light at 2 o'clock in May, if I have to use artificial electricity. Using electricity is not a problem, but because of doubly loaded, non-ventilated corridor, what gave us a liberty to design it like that? Therefore, idea was to diffuse light with skylight, etc. You are all welcome on 14 January for Kite Flying Festival. Contrary to everybody's belief, this is 2.7 FSI in Old City with optimization of land use, and in 4 to 5 story you get that, not needing 18-story structure to get that. Look at the wisdom. Long sides are shared, so no exposure coming in there, and two short side in a deep long house, it is projecting vertically up. So when sun is overhead, entire facade is in the shade, so it doesn't let the building to warm up to begin with, and when it goes low, the next building starts sheltering it. Courtyard, by recent book on courtyard houses, has told the social, the environmental, the kind of functional as well as notional virtues of that. Ahmedabad, 60 square meter rooftop, and if you are able to harvest the rainwater falling on that, 60% of that, every house used to have underground water tank lined with lime, which is antiseptic, and lime hardens and becomes rock. So rather than weakening, it strengthens the place, and you get adequate water for every year's drinking and cooking need of a family. Mass production, but with craft tradition. For example, like IKEA, you are familiar with here, one carpenter would make as many columns, as many brackets, as many jharokhas. You go and pick the other. So like thali, it's your permutation and combination, and your house which is unique. As against somebody else goes, and so there is identity, and yet there is overall conformity. Each house is unique, and yet it's not eclectic. Multiple use of space, morning for daily chores, and this macho is doing nothing but criticizing Kohli to khelta hi nahi hai. Wo bolte tum bhi kya karte ho, and all that. You know, afternoon it's a socializing, evening bird watching, and festivities as we saw. As I say, starts with way of life and then ends with the build form. Look at this, the very popular, very beautiful design element called a swing. If I remove the chains, it can be a hall for pre-wedding season. This, I can change every day the bed sheet, and it's unique every day. This swings other way around also the back. So if Bahu is taraf saaf kar rahi hai, sasu nahi dekh rahi hai, she will turn around and sit the other side, So flexible. You can sit as well as sleep. When you're jhulaing in the jhula, your perspiration evaporates, and that makes it feel cool. So it was a fixture in any house likewise. Same as thali. We talked about thali from another point of view, but just a naive thumb rule, warmer the place, spicier the food because you prefer. And you know it from Andhra, I don't need to convince you on that. So with that idea, very quickly, let me run through so it doesn't seem like a preacher jo bol ke bhag gaya. I put myself on firing range. What I want to show is sustainability is not a formula. There are diverse approaches. And each context, each scale, you could use that concern to a priority and yet come up with diverse ways of achieving that. So I want to run from a very small installation as a design contribution to a little larger in each scale and each typology. So it's not 4-3 of only one kind or the other. And all of these Rs are to be exploited. For example, first the refuse. You know, we actually came up even before the MIT and Philippines experience of in a slum chawl where 3 sides are shared with neighbor, how do you bring in light in? And that nobody gives you 5 paisa for that. I can't. But anyways, if you can imagine that if I put it in front of the thing, it glows like a bulb and saves 60-watt bulb in a daytime. But this won't give you ventilation. So we actually did something. This is the simplest installation. I shouldn't even write on my CV. But it could make a world of difference to planet as well as people's quality of life. For example, this was done through a cottage industry, some volunteers in the settlement, a dormer window with a translucent fabric, fiber as the actual vegetation, you know, kind of stems. Now you get ventilation, hot air rising up, and diffuse light coming in. So there was hundreds of units, both in Gujarat and later taken to Rajasthan and Bhopal. They have been successfully able to transform the lives. These are all daytime, but without flash pictures, where you see that 1 year recording or monitoring of the post-installation study showed that minimum of 250 rupee electricity bill monthly saving per house, minimum. And minimum of 1500 rupee increase in a home-based economic production, because they could work for longer hours, less stress on the eye. And actually, these kids unfortunately had no excuse कि अभी तो दिखता नहीं है, homework कैसे करे, you know. So all indexes improved. Reuse, I mean, you know it well. This was the installation in Gandhi Ashram because Gandhiji said that the whole root cause of untouchability is that people cleaning behind you, we are calling them untouchable. So we should invest in technologies where people don't have to scavenge and do that. So this was Mr. Ishwarbhai Patel, or one of the disciples, and he created this alternative sanitation which became defunct. So it has been turned into a nice auditorium. You can see that thing they were there. Or आपके familiar उधर बैठिए or. But we actually did a refreshment place next to that, just to change this mindset that whenever we say toilet, that's our reflex. So to change that, we use that as a design feature. That this is called pakhane pe khana, and but we have been very considerate यहाँ पर to give you the choice of the potty that you feel comfortable with, you know. So it's not imposing. So everything is what is the reminder of your bathroom or a toilet, including the shower panel is actually an LED light over your things. Reuse, this is Corbusier's building. It's with a shame that I'm saying in Ahmedabad, what would have been a modern monument was actually dilapidated like this. And 97, we took it up to restore it and put it into permanent city museum only of that kind with citizen support, not government. And it has been the City Museum of Ahmedabad that I curated. And thanks to the Institute, first ever award of the 40 that I've got was Indian Institute of Interior Design for this. So it talks of culture, the craft, the architecture of the city, the people and its ways of life. And that way it has been restored all this while. reduce, well, this is for me to be reminded of. But interiors, so now going from already occupied building, first installation, to interiors where you don't have control on the outdoors and outside. This is an IT office. We have done 6 more extensions, so probably our mistakes, they wanted us to improve every time, and we kept getting that. So this, we got the Immersion Cup award for actual calculation they did about. We never do that, but my gauge was that electricity bill was 50% from before. So that was my gauge. But simple common sense principle, use natural material, use the open plan so that most of it, usually what happens, the bosses take the periphery. Here, most number of people use the natural periphery. And even in such climatically favorable condition, can you not use the natural light? We actually had to diffuse light with zebra curtains, nature-inspired detailing, even the indoor plant for air quality, and likewise, redefine. This is one of the standalone, but a bungalow that I'm trying to share. For rich person, this was part of some 51 Beautiful Homes publication twice. But same principles, it's not the economic affordability, it's just the concern. Natural finish, maintenance-free, local material, if you call that. Whole massing, I've never used simulation, but common sense that what is south, north, east, west, and accordingly, you play the massing and overhangs. Here, mind you, the brief was central air conditioning and artificial palette of material. And as you can see, once done, it is selective air conditioning and all quota stone, cheapest, and yet, it's a different story how we got that. So you can see it actually becomes more sculptural. If you just treat each orientation in its own merit, you don't have symmetrical plan or whatnot. Courtyard in a contemporary way, natural palette of material, water and vegetation, absolutely no false ceiling, and yet enough variations of volumes. For example, 8-feet passage, 2 feet down and 2 feet up, 12-feet living room, overlooking the courtyard as an extended space. But the 2 feet above becomes the 6 feet of slab, so 1.5 foot, so that becomes a natural bed. You just put a futon and you get that space above. So likewise, this contemporary treatment to the courtyard. So you maintain the light and ventilation from there, but no sort of a monkey or no dust or no rain coming in through that or theft. Rich person's house, but no chimney. I think it's just a marketing gimmick. I'm not against chimney, but first try the natural ventilation. Here it's a skylight. So light is beautifully diffused all through the day, and smoke, smell, and heat goes out rather than going in because of the physics. This is the underground water tank in the courtyard, like the traditional houses, and it also accommodates several tens of thousands of liters. I think we should take a pledge as a designer, as interior designer, to integrate craft in our design. Only then beautiful but affordable craft would continue to go through the next generation, otherwise it would die. Keep buying saris from handloom, Make jabha, but buy that, So here is the Varli painting, and likewise the dynamics of light in a ferrocement roof. Even the craft and the art, technical art goes together, and no denial to technology that, okay, if it's energy saving, etc. Respond, this is what I practice at home. Standalone building, each orientation is how the form has evolved. That southwest is good for breeze but bad for sun, so you have louvers which are operable. Versus south is a small jali, which is actually a remake of some of the monuments of Ahmedabad. While north is a contemporary jali with a crossword puzzle because of the kind of occupation this owner has, etc. And this is a standalone building, and yet every floor is actually identified. There's no signage anywhere, but people identify by the vegetation and the louvers. And this is a 6th floor outdoor extension. Recycle. Ahmedabad city alone produces 3,000 plus metric ton of waste every day. And we studied for 3 years, and we converted a lot of these municipal and domestic waste into such building component using the local skill or volunteers' help. For example, a thin micron bag can be braided like a choti and can become a value addition thing. Fly ash brick wall, waste residue brick wall, soil block with 5% cement, wooden crate. Wood is very expensive, but crate being brittle is not used other than burning. Here, by changing the detail with that frame like a glass, we put beading and never nail it. That's how you can make a beautiful partition. As I said, nobody gives you 5 paisa, but old widows of the slum at their home in the evening singing bhajan with a thumb pressure, filled it with inert material, and they earned few meals equivalent of livelihood. And that no value plastic bottle, rather than getting thrown and polluting, got used as a 2.5 rupee brick in the wall. And that's been there for 18 years. This is, Ahmedabad is a dry city, yet enough liquor bottles to be found. You just have to look for police stations in the Google. And west sun is so low that no overhang can cut it down. But if you have tainted glass, दीवारें झूम सकती hai. So that's that. In fact, we were asked to do, and it is there in Paryavaran Bhavan, 50 by 80, in which to put all these possible superstructure or alternative to sanitation in the Swachh Bharat mission. And we found it very convenient to take bottles from Ahmedabad to Delhi, where it's even legal, And it's not Dukhi architecture, even the kind of farmhouses, etc. have been built with that. There's filler slab below neutral zone. You can reduce the consumption of concrete. It doesn't need plastering. You can save on that. Even digital waste. This is the fiber reinforced or fabric reinforced. This is a scrap and it became an interactive door. Digital waste paneling. These wrappers which are neither paper nor plastic that can be used to substitute the glass wool. Oil tin container opened up for paneling, for louvers, for ventilators. The material that from the broken house you have to pay to offload can become a huge resource. We make all these out of that. Now the multiple use of space itself. In the morning, it's a school. Afternoon, it's a vocational training for young ladies in digital medium. Daytime, it's ayahs of the local ladies who look after the kids when both parents go out for labor. They charge 5 rupees and 17 kids 85 rupees a day, but kids are taken care of. And when they are sleeping, the ceiling is what they do, so that was the garish one. And multiple use of space, community space it becomes. I want to go here tomorrow. Reinterpret. This is a bigger campus, and anytime you come, you're very welcome to experience this yourself. I'll very quickly go. Simple common sense principle way before the first platinum building came, but it would not have got any, rating because it was non-air conditioned. It had the condition, it had to be air conditioned. But anyways, let's get into this. A simple idea of checkered board pattern, so outdoor spaces can become livable spaces. Before we took, planted the first brick, the trees were planted. The cut and fill idea, when road comes in, you are lower than the ground. Just from the same place, without any import or export, you excavate this and put the rest of the areas, you are 9 inches above. No import, no export of sale. 22 lakh liter pani has been harvested like below this courtyard, and courtyard as one of the living spaces, terrace as a living space. As I said, first you plant the tree, then you dig the foundation so they become taller, cut and fill. That cut area became the natural berming, insulating berming. So this is all by passive cooling that it has been kept to a comfortable temperature. Learning from this vertically projecting one, just the shadow angle and you can devise the optimal projection. Southwest is taller, northeast is sunken, southwest is nighttime activity, northeast is daytime. So that's how you do zoning and massing. And that's the ramp and the barrier-free idea, caring and sharing. Multiple use of space. Why can't things happen outdoors? There's no space that can take more than 150 people. But right from 200 people play by Paresh Rawal to 2,000 people when Dr. Abdul Kalam opened this place were accommodated here. Interactive areas, different moods in different courtyard, water harvesting, outdoor space as a living space. That's how it's kind of become institutional. Then housing. This is second last, post-earthquake rehabilitation. I'm showing one of the 18 villages. All did not use the same but night disrupted. But people lived in a harsh desert condition where culture, craft, architecture, and art were so intertwined. And look at the khamir, the esteem on their face. They created this habitat using on because of all scientific wisdom. So again, not saying they were smarter than Ahmedabad engineers, because Ahmedabad, maximum calamity. One building, high-rise, collapsed and 72 people died just in one. While here, same place, same impact, Virat-Kai compressive strength material gave way as against the traditional one which stood. And I'm saying simply because they had, like Japan, over and over the earthquake, so they resonated or reflected that in creating built environment which would be resistant to that. While Ahmedabad never thought, the son engineer never told his father engineer, never told the son that there could be an earthquake to consider, So there were enough reasons of its form to slenderness ratio, to small aperture, to bracing, etc., that it withstood. So we did this in 18 villages, the concept that because the system was overnight disrupted, how do you do the participatory process? So we created first the simulation model. We learned from their leftovers. The whole village is on this side. This is the sponsor. I could maintain my paunch, but not the hair. So this is what we did. We presented to the one, but they looked at it and said, have you really gone to the school? They said that we can't open to the south. We have this problem, that problem. I can't be next to him. He's my enemy, even though he's my brother, etc. So we allowed them to play game and put their own kind of a location and the plot. And that's how it became a kind of a linear cluster. Our ego was hurt when they denied this. So we came in and say, how about some open space in between so your daughter's wedding can be held there and all. So they said, okay, thode class aapne attend kiye, I think we'll believe you. So that's how it was turned into a layout. And when engineers went to put this there, we found people had already started shifting their stuff, their acceptance and comprehension of what was there. Why? Because we took the same model, oriented it to the site and showed that, look, this is how it is. But model will not get an idea of actual size. And having come from Ahmedabad, the typical thing is, बहुत लोग कंजूस होते हैं. इतनी जगह है और हमें इतना ही दिया है. So when they saw one plot like that, they said, हाँ ठीक है, आपके वहाँ नर्मदा का पानी अभी आता है तो शायद दिखता है, And then they were the expert in making this block. So 10 youth from the kind of community created 3,000 block every day. They knowing what was the plasticizer, binder, etc. And with manually pressed rem and sun dried. They were making their own house, so they would make the best they can. Youngest of the family learning from the oldest. They earned livelihood doing their own. Look at this. This knowledge has passed on to the next generation, which otherwise would have died, if normal houses were done like that. Now it has become a building skill. We have hired them for some resorts and other things. So in fact, new generation can earn through that as well. This is ready in 2.5 months, 75 rupees a square feet, which was then the 1/5 of the cost. And every Diwali they do it differently. And this is not a decor, it's a design to kind of, and this is how their culture, craft, all have been continued. Look at this. When in a harsh climate, you have small aperture, you don't want inside to be gloomy. So white clay and mirror would reflect it the most, So, and then these are proud possessions, etc., etc. Amenities were provided in terms of school, the health center, the shrine, and intermediate technology. Women would inhale smoke and they would have lung-related disease. So at least this allowed that to ventilate out. Solar panel, it's not a joke, but in a decentralized way, at least one room can get electricity. And from where we dredged the soil, that is how it was selected. No government intervention, it was a barter between two communities. And from where we dredged soil next to the site, it became a clay strata reservoir with 3 inches of rainfall in the middle of desert, which is just about drought, is actually where they got water. And because of water, can you dare to think that in the desert there was agriculture? So whole ecology of the place changed. Thank you. And when that is there, water, that culture also flourishes. It used to be a saying and actually a practice that in Bhuj, Kutch, whenever the pond overflows, it's a holiday that day, because that's whole year's kind of economy and life, dependent on that. And we won the United Nations citations for that. So it's not for the award I'm saying that, thank you, but I'm saying because 10 years later we were asked to revisit and say, कि बड़ी बड़ी बातें करी, but go and see if this has worked for them. So many pictures, not only 10 years, even later, but we found that they had actually built more and there was more rewarding, idea about having done the way it was done. So continuing on their tradition and yet adapting to modern technology, door-to-door sanitation, which was not there, the kind of smokeless chula to kind of whatever other things, and you see now they have electricity. So tradition and modernity, they are not antithesis to each other. They can go hand in hand, and this is more comfortable. They could have worn jeans, there's nothing wrong, but what feels comfortable, but don't brand them, okay, they are like this or like that, And 75, in fact, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, when he says come for Khushbu of Gujarat, actually tourists are taken here during the winter festivals. And final project, that a memorial. This under Mr. Indravadan Bhai Modi, he passed away, and so this is regenerate. There's all 5 elements making the space. There's no building. So just to say that space making elements, light, modulation of ground, vegetation, water, I can't explain much in detail right now, but that's the point. This is a kind of an overview, which also you can see from one of the building which has been buried and you can walk up. So this is the point. There is Akhand Jyot, but there is a tranquil water, and you sit around inspired from this Kund architecture. The family didn't want a kind of a covering saying that we don't want to, make it like a mazar, and, it's actually going to celebrate his life. So that is how from a point, the Bindu, it started, then a kind of square Kund. Then it was, of course, inspired from Sri Yantra, but you see 52 jets of water. So now it gives you the tactile quality of a sound, that muffles the other things. It also gives you spatiality. And even from a distance, you see a sparkling thing. So tell you like a shikhar of a temple or a minaret of a mosque that you must go there. So it became a spatial enclosing it, and also the tactile to give you the sound, etc. And this is the, he died at the age of 87. So inner circle, we have 87 plant species, and being the man of pharmacy, where the essence is taken for medicine. So these are herbal and the spiritual kind of plants that have been put in there. In fact, we have all the names. He was inspired by Bhagavad Gita. So there are like circumambulatory of temple, 87 obelisks. But look, the column has 3 energy zones: the capital, the shaft, and the base. So here you see there are different kinds of communication elements that is coming there. In each of them, the integration of art, the water, the vegetation, like this is Mr. Mohapatra, who has sculpted this, who got Padma Vibhushan for his art. And it's all water, vegetation, ground modulation, etc. That is the exhibition building. This is from Virgin side, all that what you see, and this is still 3-year-old pictures, so it's been growing. Natural stone, that's where we won last month the award, National Award for National Architecture of Stone. And like you say that this is also buried with natural vegetation. You can go up on top and view the things. This is outdoor cultural center. You don't have big hall to build for that. And with light, with kind of changing time, season. Just to end with this video. This is a drone view and not a simulation. Water which are together. Father and mother. We were before computer dating, dual carriers, daycare centers, and group therapy. Serving our country was a privilege, and living in the country was even bigger pride. We thought fast food was what people ate during the fasting days. We never heard of actually, we are the generation. Change. You are in a wonderful 1,500 years. So rather than throwing the baby with the basket just because it's of yesterday, let's build on that. We don't have to invent A to Z, that's already done. Start with beta, gamma, whatever, theta, beyond. So inspire from yesterday and aspire for tomorrow. That's how the tradition or history has become tradition to continue. Welcome to traverse in the immensity of time and space, of notion and reality into this great land called India. Thank you for your patience hearing. Thank you. Thank you. No, please. Thank you. That's too much. Thank you, you've been kind and generous the way I've been experiencing the warmth. Be yourself, don't emit, you don't want to be Gurgaon or Singapore, be yourself. Should I go down? Or there are questions? Yeah, okay.
Hello. And in between, all the memories, all the takeaways, all the learnings, they all collectively come together as a beautiful narration. And that's the life journey of Sir, putting it as a whole picture for us. Now I would like to invite our chairperson, Pallaviji.
It happens.
So before we go to the next step of the evening, so the introduction itself is a takeaway for all of us that if you have to be an architect, so you have to learn music, sculpting, storytelling, the language, the experience, so many nuances of it. So that's what it is. So keep improving, keep your all senses wide open, and then post the event. If you have any queries, you can just ask Sir in person. He's here for a few minutes. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All
Very
the best.
humbly blessed. Thank you. Now I would request after the all students are requested to sit. There is a labeling pen event to post this. All the members that got infused into the Iiid students program would be given the labeling pens by our members. stone needs, this is a wonderful place to buy stone. So, and for the evening address, I request architect Sushmita Subudiji to come onto the dais and address the audience.
A very good evening. I think I am audible, and I would request all the students, just in case they have left, please, if you can tell your friends to come back, please do so, because this is where we wanted to distribute the lapel pins for all the student members. As promised earlier, we are doing that. Okay. So I, architect Sushmita Subudhi, on behalf of Iiid-Hrc, welcome you all to this very august occasion, and it is a matter of privilege for us to start this occasion, which is the IID Insider Showcase, with the students. Like, this means a lot to us at this very moment, and a journey which we started almost like in the month of Feb, and it has culminated into this particular occasion where we have 253 members, and we are really proud of it. A huge round of applause to all the students, all the faculty members, all the faculty coordinators, student coordinators, our entire MC, the managing committee. It really is an indeed moment for us, because this was something which was not expected right at the beginning. We never thought that we will be doing a workshop of this kind. It just happened, eventually. And I would just like to talk about it a little. And this is where I would, like, as I said, student members, we could make 253 members. So the activities which were meant open for all the students, eventually we reached a point where it was only dedicated for student members. So eventually there were very few slots which were open, and we opened up for 1 or 2 colleges who asked for it. And that's how 10 colleges, we have 253 members. And as Rakesh had earlier mentioned also, we are still counting. Students are still interested about it, and we are really proud of it. As earlier said, in December only, in the Bombay National Convention, Rakesh had a talk with Yatin sir, and that's how, like, right from the month of December, this idea had already brewed in that he wanted to bring Yatin sir, and it culminated today. And nothing would have been possible if not for Pallavi, who is our chairperson. She has always been instrumental in always supporting us in anything and everything that we wish to. So thank you so much, Rakesh. And Yatin sir, thank you so much for being here. It really means a lot to us. Likewise, Bobby Vijayakar was also an origami artist in the same convention, and that is where he made sure that he invited him. And it is working forward, and tomorrow we are going to witness origami workshop with architect Bobby Vijayakar with his associate, Ms. Siddhi. Likewise, we also have charcoal workshop. We have with us right now Mr. Manveer Singh. Can I ask him to just please come forward? Mr. Manveer Singh? Yeah, please come here. So he is the one who will be doing the charcoal workshop. I'm sure many of the architecture students are already aware about him. In many NASA and zonal NASA platforms, he has actually done workshops, and we are really privileged to have him here. This is where I would also like to introduce you to architect Anurag Khandelwal. Anurag ji, please come forward. So a person who is working on the IIT Pavilion, and he himself coming forward and doing a student workshop, and that to a carpentry workshop, is really commendable. So he came forward with this idea that I would want to conduct it, and that's how this particular workshop is going to happen for you. I would also like to request Chiranjeevi ji to please come forward, because he is also here right now. He is arranging for the material for the mural workshop and competition. He is actually here, I don't know, just in case. Okay, so he is also here otherwise. I'll just see if at all I get to see, because he is arranging the material for the mural workshop. And that's really a pleasure. At the same time, we have this installation by architect Iiid-Hrc. He's flying all the way from Johannesburg. And it was meant to be his talk, which is there in a fellowship meet. But the committee made sure that he engages with the students, and that's where there is a discussion of students with architect Iiid-Hrc, which is called the Engaging Minds, which is happening on the 29th at the Hi-Techs. So, you know, all this would not have been possible, and it was never the intention that we will have these many members. It was never the intention that we will have so many workshops. And it's just said, no, you ab chalte chalo and karwa banta chala jata hai, and that is what happened. And this is where I would like to talk about the installation. Manoj ji? Okay, so Manoj ji actually came up with this idea of actually having this installation. And this installation is being culminated again. We have 7 colleges participating under 3 award-winning mentors. We have architect Ramesh Khatam, we have Geetu Gangadharan, and we have also Shashank Rao. So we have 3 architects under whom there is a group of students from 7 different colleges working together, and you will be getting to see these installations right in front of the Hi-Techs exhibition. So that also is a contribution by our students. So you students can do wonders, and that's something we have witnessed when we actually started with this journey. And nothing of this would have been possible without the faculty coordinators, without the management of different colleges, the way they have actually supported. Pallavi had spoken about this Sirsila college, and then they have taken this pain of all the 20 student members have come from Sirsila here, and they will be attending this workshop for the next 4 days. And this is where I would like to mention the management of CSIT, the college I belong to. They took this initiative. Suman ma'am made sure with our manager, Dr. Dayanand Karunakar, that our guest houses have been given to them, and they are staying there for the next 4 days. So, you know, these are small steps. We are trying to just see how best we can actually bring you all together to work together and just enjoy the best. A few names, I'm very sorry, it will take me a while, but I need to tell all this because you people need to know how exactly this happens. Chairperson Pallavi Anchuri, when we were making these members, and when I asked Srinath, he is our executive secretary, I said, how much time would it take for the certificates to be done? He said, ma'am, easily 2 to 3 months. I said, if we are making the members now and if we want the certificates, please do it at the earliest because we would want the students to get it when they are there at the Hi-Techs. And they made this relentless effort of talking to the head office. And we have first lot of certificates which has already come to us. So the student member certificates, we are hoping on the valedictory on the 30th of June, which we have at Hi-Techs, we will be handing over all the certificates to everybody. As promised earlier, we have our lapel pins also at place. Now here again, I would like to say we could have made a very general lapel pin which could have been given to all the student members. But Rakesh took this initiative that no, let's have the names. Let's have the names of all the students on all the lapel pins. Afsha, can I please call you here with your team? She took the pain of actually designing it, making sure that on all the lapel pins the names are mentioned, distributing it in different colleges, through the different colleges, making those boxes so we have it, we'll be handing over to you. So we could do it. If not for your support, this would not have been possible. Obviously the team and her support, we are really proud of it. And we will be handing over the lapel pins which you'll be able to use now. Manoj ji, the ones who know him, I wish he was here. He would not give you a minute also to talk to. But for this particular initiative, for this venue, this very venue, he has taken almost 1.5 hours to 2 hours of time sitting in front of the director, Shanti Shri ma'am, just to make sure that the place is given to us. So, and for installation also, every now and then, and because he is the mastermind behind it, talking to all the 3 mentors, making sure that everything is put in place, it was all Manoj ji. Gaurav, I cannot just, how much I have troubled him. When the design briefs, I had given the deadline that I had to release it on the 1st of June and it was just not getting ready. And the number of calls I must have made, I'm really thankful for all the work you have done. Praveen, when we were doing all this workshop, it just cannot happen without money. You all know that. And that is where the sponsors come into picture. Hen Fabio Stone was one great relief for us. And if not for Praveen Nune, our chairman person-elect, this would not have been possible. Obviously, we have other sponsors also, but they were the partner for the student workshop, and we are forever grateful to them. Naveen, so every time now this student volunteers thing which we are going to do, and with every passing year, we try to better it. He made sure that the Google Forms are ready, the water bottles are here, we'll make sure that everybody gets their deserved size when they are wearing it. So he made sure that everything is at place, every time cautioning me, Sushmita ma'am, this is how we have to do it. So that was always there, you know. Amita, I'm going to take your help now. Subbarao also. Zeena ji, Ramesh Patel, Sandeep Jain. I'm not going to leave anybody. I'm going to make sure that everybody, whatever, in whichever way possible I can use, I'll make use of it. Creative work that we were doing, when we are working on the briefs, the kind of brainstorming we were doing, when we were coming up with the comic strip idea, we all were working together to just make sure that it is falling into place. Ruxana, even now for the installation, I've given her the job that, okay, you take care. She's interacting with all these 3 mentors and then taking charge of it. Suman ma'am has been my biggest support. She is a part of my college, more than a friend to me, and for everything that I do, even if it is not like a help, for everything I can count on her. Padmaja Singh. Thank you so much, Padmaja. Like, she was not there in the beginning, but once she is there, she takes full charge of it. This being a place, the way you see it now, the floral arrangement, the cleaning of the washrooms, everything, she made sure that it is being taken care of. And I'm really proud of her, because once she is in, she is in. Even for the extra room that we wanted, she took the pain of meeting the director. I would also like to welcome Samesh and Achal. Their work starts now, because the student volunteer part, as how these people did it last time, I'm sure it is going to get even better and bigger. So these two, last time they were friends, now they're husband and wife. So I get to see them, and I congratulate both of them. So they are a nice team to work with. So they are the student volunteers, so they do that part. Yash Rathi, is he here? So I'm still to get the work done from them. So that's how my team is, and I'm really, really, really proud of my team, and I would not have been able to do whatever we could if not for this team, be it the MC or the working committee. Thank you so much. I think at this point of time, I need to acknowledge the faculty coordinators, because I would not have been able to reach that 253 mark if not for the faculty coordinators. Can I request all the faculty coordinators to please come forward? Architect Babita from Bonfire, Architect Rohini Ketan Hastak from CSIT School of Architecture and Planning. I know Architect Abhishek could not make it, but I request Architect Tanuja from Geetam to please join. You're Tanuja only, no? Please come, please come. So Abhishek could not make it from Geetam, but I'm sorry, Kirti has come from Geetam School of Architecture. Can I request Janvi Pankaj from Hamstead, or if any other faculty who has joined from Hamstead? Okay, so we have Hamstead College of Creative Education. We have architect Monica. These people could not make it. From JBR, we have 38 students who actually took membership, but they have this NAC accreditation inspection which is happening, and that's how this team of 38 students could not come. So maybe few of them have come, so we would be calling out their names. Kali Krishna from JNFAU Architecture Department. Okay. Ms. Hima Bindu. We have 30 students from JNFAU B Design, and we are really proud. We have, for that matters, 45 from CSIT also. JNIA School of Architecture and Planning, Architect Yashwant Chandra and Architect Saujanya, if they are here. Okay. Architect Syed Tausif Hussaini. 50 students, that's the largest number we have made this particular, year. So Lakhotia College of Design. And last but not the least, TGT WRFAA, Sirsila. As I said, it's a group of students, 20 students who have come from Sirsila. We request Architect Manohar from Sirsila to join us. So that's how we have this team. So for those who could not make it, our best wishes to them and the management. It really means a lot to all of us. I request you all to please take your seats. I'll quickly call out the names. College boys, please come forward. I'm very sorry I'm taking a while, but it was needed. It is needed because you people have contributed your bit here. We'll start with bonfire. Anurag, Hiral Patel, Abhigya Reddy, Ridhi Patel, Yash Patel, Sunaina Mohammed, and Lakshmi Gayatri. I'm sorry. I request, since the students are at place, I request architect Yatin Pandya sir. I request architect Pallavi Anchari. I request past chairperson architect Aparna Bedarkar ma'am to please come and help us distribute the lapel pens to our students. Please come. Just we'll hand over the bottles. When they are coming down. We request all the students to come from the other side and leave from here so that we can hand over your bottles or kits or whatever you call it as. Thank you so much, sir, for taking this and doing this for our students. It does mean a lot. We request the faculty coordinator also to join in so that it becomes like a group photograph. Please. For all the other colleges, when we are calling, please let the faculty coordinator also join in. Leave from this side. The next college is CSI Institute of Technology, School of Planning and Architecture and Planning. Afsha, Azmat, Anusha, Anud, Pragya Priya, Manogna, Rajanya Lakshmi, Rohan Raj, Dhriti, Suhani, Vishnuvardhan, Jaza, Veda, Juveria, Jagdish. As I call your names, please come forward. Manas, Samiullah, Akshay, Bruhati, Nikita, Neha, Nirmal Gauri, Aishwarya Lakshmi, Rohit, Sai Harshita, Nandini Reddy, Maithili Rao, Diksha Sahiti, Shanti Rosalind, Harsha Valika, Rityuta Nyati, Priyanka Jennifer, Rahul. Sneha Gadde, Sukirti, Abdul Qadir Qadri, Nabila, Varsha, Lakshmi Tanusha, Trisha, Tushar, Vaishnavi, Akshita, Vivek, Sai Priya. May I request Rohini also to join, please? I also request Shanawaz ma'am to join in. Our college, ma'am. So, yeah. Suman ma'am. Please make yourself visible the way you're standing. I'm sure nobody will be able to see. Come to the front. हाँ The high tea will be served after this, so I request all of you to please stay back and enjoy your high tea. Next in line is Geetam. We have Shivani, Syed Muskan, Keura, Anushri, Varshita, Bhavya Reddy, Surya Kumari. Do we have the Geetam students? The Geetam students, please join in. We also wanted to announce here that from tomorrow for the next 2 days, 3:30 to 4:30, we will have a flash mob. So just come prepared for it and have a good time with us. All the students, please come here. Next in line is Hampstead College of Creative Education. I'll call out the names. Satvika, Ashutosh, Farneet, Rashi, Vidhi, Riya, Dhriti, Kavya, Naimisha, Nihasha, Akanksha, Manav, Sambhav, Hania, Fatima, Rishi, Unnati, Sneha, Lal Rohlui, Zoeba, Sadaf, Lokesh, Kirtana, Sidra, Akhil, Mustafa, Suhaib, and Zafar. Do we have students from JBR? Can you please raise your hand? Oh, Navina is there. Who else? You are the only one representing? So from tomorrow, I'll get to see your friends. Second half. Okay, it's only Navina from JBR, as I said, mentioned earlier also. The others could not make it. They'll be coming tomorrow. Navina? Next in line is JNFAU, Architecture Department. Anjani, Uma, Khyati, Aparna, Jayashri, Niharika, Vishwacharani, Navya, Ujjwal, Damayanti, Rama Devi, and Akash. JNFAU, BARC, Architecture Department. Is anybody there from JNFAU Architecture Department? JNFAU B Design. Nisha, Nitya, Hafsha, Nirali, Ashrita, Anshul, Akshaya, Pujita, Mansi, Alekhya, Anaga, Kishan, Munira, Srujan, Aditi Reddy, Lakshmi Shriya, Nikhil, Ramani, Murtaza, Anusha, Mansi, Teja Tarun, Varsha, Shivakumar, Vinila, Alisha, Mansi, Moses, Sanya, and Sneha Reddy. And Himabindu, please join in. Tired. Next in line is Lakhotia College of Design. Afia, Chetan, Misbah, Asif, Shima, Samia, Ayusha, Noman, Shruti, Syed Mehdi, Afifa, Rafi Unisa, Sumaya, Rohit, Bharat, Uday, Siddharth, Pooja, Rishita, Abdul Majid, Sheikh, Sumaya, Saida Feroza, Shika Puzita, Hafsha, Sonu, Samarjeet, Sashidhar, Priyanka, Amin, Mahmood, Bhavani, Samyukta, Soni, Tejaswini, Harshita, Muhammad Abdul, Monica, Vrinda, Dharani, Mustafa Ali, Sobia Ali, Sadia Khan, Abhilash Krishna, Nadira, Firdaus, Adnan, Munib, Abdul Bari, Abdul Hafiz. So that's the count, 50 for Lakhotia. Next is TGT-WRFAA. Divya, Sri Devi, Bhukya Sonu, Shruti, Navneeta, Sayu Vanashri, Anita, Deepika, Monica, Nandini, Akhila, Sumalata, Shruti, Sai Pallavi, Maithili, Kirtana, Kalyani, Supriya, Sai Priya, and Rizwana. So they have come all the way from Sirsala and they've... Last but not the least, Jain IAS College. We have Vishwambar, Manikumar, Madhusmata, Sudha, Sri Harichandra, Pujita, Venkat Bharadwaj, Venkat Sunil, Sai Prasanna, Sivacharan, Anusha, Indraja, Ehtesh Muddin, Sahira, Rajni Kumar, Manikunta. So he is joining in a while is what we heard.
Wow. Yatin Pandya. Okay, sure. You will be giving, I'll just announce it.
At this moment, I would also, Anurag Khandelwal ji wanted to present a memento to architect Yatin Pandya sir. So he has made one very interesting birdhouse, or so as to say a memento which he would want to share. Big round of applause. एक सेकंड ये सब मेरे ही पेपर्स हैं Thank you very much, Anurag ji. And once again, we are starting the workshop tomorrow sharp at 10:30. We request all of you to gather here at 10:30. We will mention the venue details in the WhatsApp. At this moment, when we bid adieu, a final thanks to again our convener, Architect Rakesh Vasu, because all this I would not have been able to do if not for him. Thank you.
Now I would request all the management committee to come up onto the stage and present our bag and the water bottle of the Showcase Rex to Yatin Pandya sir. Sushmita, it's a rendezvous, like as a faculty and the MC member, you are relentlessly working towards bringing all the students onto the design fraternity family. So all the students, you should carry this water bottle. This is your first step towards leading a life of sustainability, that you pour your water for all your lifetime. So that way, a small step of not using plastic bottles, adding trash to the garbage and landfills to the earth. So remember this, and this bottle is not to be meant to be kept in your wardrobes or cupboards. Please carry it with you every day. Please, all the MC, come up onto the stage. We would like to present our designer bag, kit and the water bottle to Yatin sir. Sanjay ji, Amita ji, please come up onto the stage. Sushmita ji. Manoj ji kidhar hai? Manoj ji, if he is here. Ramesh ji, Sanjay ji, please. And now, not but the least, I would request Honorary Secretary Architect Naveen Chalsani to present vote of thanks on behalf of Iiid-Hrc. With this, we would end today's session.
Yeah, good evening. There is a small request for the students. The water bottles which were given, please get for tomorrow also, because next 3 days you have the workshop. And the 3 days, please get your bottles and refill your water. And one more thing is like, please download the Iiid-Hrc app. So the link will be shared, both the Android version and Apple version. So Sushmita ma'am will share you the link. It's a small request to download this so that you will get all the activities and the daily what is going on in that app. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. What a wonderful evening it was. So I would like to thank architect Yatin Pandya and even our sponsor Fabstone. And I will request, I'd like to thank all our past chairmen. So I'd like to request for a high tea.